Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's special call that we're bringing to you with Uwe Jacobs on how to build a seven-figure net worth in under 4 years. There's a few people from my community. By the way, those of you that don't know me, I'm Natasha Denman, even though it says Donna on the webinar program. Donna is someone that I'm partnered in using this program, and Uwe's there on the line. Say hi, Uwe.
Hi, Uwe. No, you just wanted me to say hi. Okay, hi.
Yes. So first of all, before we get going and I introduce you, I just want to get a few hellos and use your question box, guys. If you drop down the little question box in your panel there, you'll be able to type messages to us, and I'll be here on the call throughout to answer anything techie wise if you're having issues, and also we want tons of questions around picking Uber's brain because he's been doing this for quite a while, and I had the benefit of having his advice recently when we were buying our third property, and that was really awesome because now we're in a much better set up financial position. Here's Lucy. Lucy said, "Hey Natasha, nice to see you, Lucy, on this call. You definitely should be listening to this information to build the vision for your future in financial independence." Who else is here on the call? We've got Elaine here or from Perth that's there, and Marika from Queensland. And yes, they're all saying hello. So I trust now that you are able to see me, see us, see the PowerPoint, and hear us. And what I want to do is just give you a brief introduction of how I met Uwe and what I know of him. Rather than a good old boring readout of a bio, I'd rather just tell you the personal story. Hey, Mareko as well. Excellent. So Uwe, you guys, has been in business in this particular business, Property Friends, in for 11 years full time. So he has been doing this. This has been his livelihood. And I met him about 3 years ago, out and about through networking, as I usually do meet people. And we really sort of connected, and then we ran into each other again, and then we sat down for coffee. And yeah, we've been working together the last 6 months, and it's I think the system and the strategy that he has developed is wonderful because he will explain in a second, but it doesn't affect people's lifestyles, and it enables them to build that financial growth through property, which we know is one of the smartest ways to invest your money. And so, as I said recently, we got his advice in upsizing our portfolio. But certainly, I'll be looking at using some of these extra strategies as I have this goal to retire before I'm 45 and be buying a property every year from now on. So, without further ado, I want him to share some of his results and take you through this presentation. And then we're going to stop and have lots of questions and interaction at the end. And I'm going to be eagerly listening as well at the same time. So, Uwe, why don't you take it away and give us share the gold with us?
Okay, with pleasure. Thank you very much, Nat. Well, it's really all about who's come here to get more knowledge on property investment and who's interested in more of a secure financial future. That's really what it's all about. So good evening to everybody. Uwe Jacobs, for the ones that don't know me. I'm the owner of Property Friends. I'd like to welcome you all and really want to thank you for allowing me to present to you. I know we're all busy people, and I congratulate you on making the time commitment. I have an old saying, and it goes something like, if you do what others won't, you can play when others can't. And there's not too many of the general populace that will go on a webinar at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, or Thursday night during the week. So I'll do my very best to make it worth your while, and that's what I'm all about, to give you content. Just checking, everybody can hear me okay? If you can give me a brief thumbs up in the text box, or fantastic, excellent, thanks you very much. That's terrific. Well, let's get into it. Over the last 11 years, we believe in balance in life and in property, and in balance between growth and yield. And by the way, if I use terms that you're not familiar with, just keep asking questions in the questions box. at the end we'll cover all of them up, so that'll be good. Between growth and yield, we look at for balance there. That means we look for balance between the increase in property value, but moreover also between, and we're looking at the rental yield, our rental income. We've created a very successful, well, I think, and it's been proven, a very successful system around this, and that doesn't only work for us. My wife Ulla and I have been in property for 15 years. But anyway, so over the last 11 years, we've been full-time in property investing, and that's all we do for the last 11 years. We have assisted over 315 families in substantially improving their financial situation. Our clientele, our team, the youngest guy was a 24-year-old carpenter, at the time unattached and unmarried. He's been with us for 7 years now, married, 2 kids, has got 7 properties, and I'm very proud about having assisted with that. The oldest guy was an 82-year-old retiree, and I tell you what, that guy had fire in his belly. That was real fun. Invested for 2 years, sold the 2 properties that he bought with us, pocketed $160,000, and that afforded him a bit of retirement. So that was good too. The equivalent contract value that we've worked off is 115 million. I don't want to show off with that. I just want to show you that we've been around the block a few times and have done a few things. We've assisted 3 families already to make in excess of $1 million in net assets. For the people that are not quite conversant with the term net assets, so if they were to sell everything that they've done through us and with us, they would be sitting on $1 million worth in their bank account. One family has actually done 1.165 million in 3 years and 10 months. That's incredible, incredible. And we have a 76% return rate in our business. That means that something is working here. People are coming back and are doing more and more properties with us. I claim 100% satisfied clients. Any queries on that, go to our website. The details will be at the end shown. Have a look at the testimonials. I'm really, really proud about those. And by the way, they have not been written up in the back office. There's phone numbers, email addresses there, so they're all rigid. It's not easy to get testimonials in the investing arena, and that just testifies how good a connection we've got with our team. So that's excellent. A little bit about myself and where we've come from. Married for 27 years already. Still the best thing that I've done in my whole life, to get married to Ulla. We have 2 kids, well, 2 young ladies, 24 and 23. Personally, I love cooking. I love hanging out with my family and my friends, and motorbike riding is a lot of fun too. We're doing okay, but it hasn't been always that way. See, when we started, I have a corporate background of 25 years. I climbed the corporate ladder to be commercially responsible, to lead a $1.3 billion project, which is trains and trams that are running around here in Melbourne from Siemens. That was 4 years of my life, and it was fun, but what I really become very, very clearly aware of during that very tough phase where we worked like mad dogs is that the corporate ladder that I was climbing sort of was leaning against the wrong building, meaning ultimately I was making money for other people and fulfilling other people's goals and dreams. And ultimately we decided there had to be a better way, and that is how we developed the Property Friends property investing way, where we buy residential real estate at wholesale pricing. Now, I often get asked, what is this thing, wholesale pricing? The best way I can explain it is, let's take the example that we want to buy a car. So a brand new car, so we go to the dealer, negotiate like a mad dog, and get $3,000 off. Everybody's happy. Now, let's change that story to we want to buy a car, and we just happen to have 4 friends that want to buy the same car. So these 4 friends employ me to negotiate on their behalf and purchase a set of 5 cars whereby each and every one of us buys in their own name or entity. Now, question is, me being able to negotiate on 5 cars, will I get a better price? Of course I will. Will I be likely to get upgrades on the equipment, say a better stereo, say a navigation system? Of course I will. Will I be talking at a completely different level with the sales manager or business owner rather than with the sales guy? Of course I will. That's really what we are on about in Property Friends, and that's what we do with property. The buying power allows us to go through the back door where the real deals are done and not through the front door through the retail end. So by providing this wholesale buying power, we help people to buy according to a very, very simple benchmark. And that benchmark, by the way, has not changed and will not change, has not changed over the last 11 years that we've been running our business. And that benchmark is only if it's good enough for what we would buy ourselves, is it good enough for our community. So if it isn't good enough for us, we're not going to offer it to anybody in our team. That's this very simple and basic benchmark. In fact, we've spent many, many years refining our system to provide balance between growth and yield. Make no mistake, it's not come out of my brilliant brain on its own. We had a couple of mentors over the last 14 years, and I find working in a team works best. If you then have an independent mentor on your side, that really makes it fly. Doesn't it make sense? In a team, we can arrange more. What's the old saying? Teamwork makes the dream work. And anybody knows that plays team sports, it just doesn't work when you're on your own. Why did I do all of this? And hey, there's work involved. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Well, I had a big dream. I wanted to, what I call, get the financial monkey off my back, be financially secure. And as far as I'm concerned, it's fun to help others to do the same, and our system can do that. So at the end of the presentation, at the end of the webinar, I'm going to make you an offer to assist you. No cost, no risk, so let's see what happens. I'd like to keep it interactive, so do post questions into the question box, and we'll kick them off and answer them at the end. Okay, my style is to really let it rip. As you can maybe already tell, I love what I do and I love giving all the good bits out. So that also means that I've got to be a bit careful and need to give you a bit of a disclaimer. I call it the postcard from my lawyers. They made me do it. We are not financial planners or accountants or the like. What I'm talking about is experience over 15 years. We have the experience. We've made all the mistakes that can be made, just about, I would say. We've been doing lots of different property investments, so we know what we're talking about. But it's important that everybody does their own due diligence and talks to their own advisors before taking any actions, because we're all responsible people, right? In the end, it's your money, so you have to take responsibility for your investments. That makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, that was the official part. Now we can have some fun. So why property investment? Well, I'm rather curious actually. You're on this webinar. Give me a few reasons why are you here. What would you like to know? What is going on for you? Why are you interested in property investment? If you can type a couple of things into the questions box, that'll be great.
I know why I want to get into property investment, so that one day I can have that choice of retirement and choose when I want to work and when I don't want to work, and be able to enjoy the nicer things in life, I think.
Yeah, I think that's most of the people ultimately that have that goal. Now, and it's interesting. We generally, I find that a lot of people start off with a fairly small goal of one or two properties, and with experience and with knowledge, that goal rises and gets bigger.
Yeah, we've
So
got a few comments there as well.
yeah,
From
but the property,
Bianca, positive cash flow in future in retirement. We've
yeah,
got Chris, financial security, future for kids. That's an awesome one. Bianca's not sure how to select the first property, so that's you can always assist there. Elaine, so I can leave a property portfolio to my children and grandchildren. That's an awesome goal. Um,
that's magnificent.
and there's one
Uh,
question here about whether property is better than shares or a combination for residual income from a raker.
that's a great question. That's fantastic. It's a question that will take a day or two to really explore. But the short story is, in my view, well, let's get into it. In my view,
Mm.
property is the safest form of investing, and really, that is one of the things that really tickle my fancy in property investing. As an asset class, you have bricks and mortar underlying and underpinning that asset. So there are, of course, many different ways to skin a cat. There's many different ways to invest, but certainly the underlying bricks and mortar of property are a great way of underpinning the safety. Leverage, there's just about no other asset class that can be leveraged, i.e. lending from a bank to the same level that you can do with property. And to work with OPM, other people's money, really makes investment very worthwhile and leverages the power that you've got. The other thing that I really like about the house and land packages that are done is we get to a replicable result, a predictable outcome. That is something that is important to me because I want to have a system that works where I can determine the outcome ideally before I start. Ultimately, what we want to do is what I call avoid the government support at the end, i.e. get out of a pension. And I tell you what, one of my goals is to have too much money for a pension to be paid to me. I think that's a good one. Recurring passive income, the question I think was asked, positive cash flow. Yes, that's one way to set up positive cash flow and passive income. In property investment, there's many ways to get to recurring passive income. To me, it's all about choice of lifestyle and when do you want to retire. Ned said that she wanted to retire or be in a position to retire, although I don't quite think that's going to happen, at 45 because Ned has got too much fun doing what she's doing, I think. But anyway, let's see. It's beautiful to have the option. And retirement should be a function of when you want to do it. It is a function of money, not of age. And to be financially independent, I think is really where it's at. Yeah, so that's some of the reasons why I personally think and why it's generally considered that property investment is a great way of going and a great asset class. So, but really the question is, where are you at? And there I want to put the question to you. Are you a beginner where you have no investment properties and are looking around? Are you an intermediate, 1, 2, 3 properties, or are you advanced in the game? And what I'd like you to do for me to get a bit of a feeling of where the audience is tonight, if you can put a B, an I, or an A into the questions box, just to give me a bit of a feel where we're at, so that I don't start talking to you about driving a VW Beetle when you are already sitting in a Ferrari Testarossa or something like that. So, okay. We seem to have a good mix here, B, I's, and
One A.
A's.
Yeah, one A. Quite a
Yeah,
few I's. So it's
quite a few I's. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate that. That gives me a bit of an idea. What we will cover today is really the strategies. The biggest thing in property investment is what's the strategy? And heck, not only in property investment, the biggest thing in life is what's my strategy, what's my plan. I'll reveal some locations that underpin what I call 3 basic strategies, and I'll run through a case scenario, a physical, practical case scenario, how the team has built in excess of 1 million in assets in under 4 years. And then at the end, as I said, I'll offer you some assistance and offer you an opportunity that you'll likely to be taking advantage of. Okay, into it. So what strategies are there? And as I said, keep the questions coming. We'll have a question and answer session at the end. So let's keep the questions coming. Well, really, there's only 3 different strategies. In my books, you can bring it down to those 3, which is high growth, where we have a very rapid increase in the value of the property, high yield, which is where we have a very high rental income, and a balance between the 2. And I find that people really get confused about what strategy to adopt. They try this, they try that, or worse, they follow very blindly somebody and get themselves into strife. So my goal for tonight was to give you an overview of those strategies and to get that fleshed out and get that clearer. So high growth strategies is really ideally where we all want to be, because in the growth is where the money is made. No questions asked. Capital growth, that's where the money is made. They are typically properties that are within 5 kilometers of the major cities. The issue with those is, and I should preface that with saying that there is a seesaw effect between growth and yield. So between the value increase of a property and the rental return of the property. When growth is high, invariably the yield is low, the rental is low, and when the rental is high, when the yield is high, the growth is low. I'll get more into that a little bit later. So what does that mean? That means that the highest growing properties within, say, 5 kilometers of GPO of the major cities are not only very expensive, say 700,000 and above, but they also have a very, very low rental income, typically between 2.5% and 4%. Now, what does that mean? It means that we have a property which is commonly referred to as a good negative gear property. Well, I doubt that is that good. I like to take advantage of the tax benefits, but I don't like it personally when I have to shell out $1,000 or $1,500 a month from my after-tax disposable income. I don't know too many people that want to do that. So whilst the high growth property is the biggest return on the asset growth, the bugbear with those is certainly that they take cash after tax money out of your pocket. And that means a big hefty influence in your lifestyle. To be honest, in my view, that's the reason why some 94% of property investors only have one investment property, because they simply cannot afford a second one with such high negative figures, with such high amount of after-tax money that needs to be put out of your own hip pocket into the property. Now let's get to the high-yielding properties. Let's flip the coin. This is typically in mining towns. These bring in cash. Rental yield is often 8% and above. So as such, they make money and put money into your pocket every month, which is great. However, the issue with those properties is that they are often in mining towns, and this means very risky business, since the intrinsic value in the rental yield is due to the one commodity that drives the market. And the scarcity of land is often due to the mines encroaching on the towns. They're often quite remote and small towns. And they definitely depend on one income source. Now, we all know that one income source is high risk. They also have a typically high entry price of, let's say, $700,000, $800,000. We've seen old three-bedder high-set Queenslanders in Moranbah, which is a mining town. There was nothing special about them, sell for $800,000, crazy stuff. Anyway, so we personally, and that's what I suggest as a best strategy, is the balanced approach. This is where we typically base our own investments from about 5% rental yield onwards, depending on your risk profile and your personal situation. So you look for an area that is balanced, where you get 5% rental income, and then you look for the biggest capital growth that you can find. That is the difference. Now, what does that mean? That means that we can cash flow the property because it is not costing us any money. It pays for itself, or just about pays for itself completely. And that means not only that we can continue our merry life and our living standards as they are, but it also means that we can build a portfolio. And that is the trick in our system. So I thought it would be interesting to have a look at where are those properties located, and can we find any commonalities. So let's start off with the high growth properties. The red pins: Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Darwin. To a degree, Canberra, to a degree, Adelaide. What's common? Well, they're all the major cities, of course. So just to summarize, they are large negative gears. So that means we need to make money investments into them every month. The rental return is 2.5 to 4%. And on the positive side, they're the ones that lead to the highest capital gain, but they eat us out of house and home, as I jovially say. Now, let's have a look at the high-yielding ones. They're the mining towns typically. So we've got the Surat Basin, we've got, which is the Queensland Basin. We've got some in the area of New South Wales, which is the Hunter Valley, and of course the northwest part of Western Australia, your Karratha, Port Hedland, and things like that. Sorry. So, where are the balanced areas? The balanced areas are the major country towns. Your Cairns, your Rockhampton, your Townsville, your Geraldtons in Western Australia. We've done some work in Darwin and Melbourne as well, but that's typically not where it's at. Typically, it's the bigger country towns that give you 5.5%, 6% rental income, and then good capital growth, which is what it's all about. Now, I've been asking myself, how do I test and prove that theory? And it's not a theory, it's a proven result. So, with my project background and my commercial background, I love figures. I have put together what is called a property investment analyzer. It's a commercially available product, software that I work with very often. And I realize that cannot be deciphered on the screen. So let's look at what are the major points. The major points are what's the cash flow like and what's the equity and the total result like on the horizontal. On the vertical, we have the three different scenarios: the growth, the yield, and the balance property. So I note that I have calculated in this model, and it is a model, so I have calculated in this model everything the same. So I've assumed $700,000 purchase value plus all the on costs. The only difference is between the assumption of how much is the percentage of growth and how much is the percentage of yield of rental income. So in this first scenario, as you can see on the top, 10% growth is assumed and 3.5% rental income, your typical inner city property. I have summarized the figures for your purposes and to make it easier. So the pre-tax cash flow on this is $28,000. That means that before tax deductions, we're losing $2,000 a month. Now we do get a nice hefty tax deduction for it, $14,400. So from a cash flow point of view, after tax deduction, that means we're losing about $1,200 per month. Now that means you physically gotta inject $1,200 of your after-tax income into the property every month. Now I don't know about you, but that ain't fun in my books. And even if I can do it once, I will very highly unlikely to be able to do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, which if you want to really build financial security through property investing, you need more than one property. Everybody knows that. Now let's look at the equity side of things. Now we have said from the very beginning the biggest equity gain comes from the growth property, obviously. So the property would, over a 10-year period, which is calculated in this model, gain $1.2 million. We have to deduct 10 years of $133,000 worth of cash flow, which is 10 years times 13,300. So we're ending up with, let's call it $1.1 million worth of total result on the high growth property. All right. Now, let's flip the coin and let's look at what happens on the high yielding property. So I have assumed here 4% growth and 9% rental income. So before tax, we are ending up with $9,500 worth of income, not loss, income. And because it's a new property, we can still write $2,000 off and get $2,000 for tax credit. So we're getting $11,500 worth of income per year, or let's call it $1,000 a month. Now that's where some people go and beat their chest and say, wow, we've created $1,000 worth of income. Well, yippee-doo. But what about the growth? Always look at both sides is the message. The growth equity after 10 years has only gone up by $336,000. Now, we can add, and we need to add 10 years of positive cash flow, 11,500, which is 115,000 to that. So that means we are ending up with, call it 450,000, less than half of the ideal scenario of the growth property. Now, I don't know about you, but half, even if I have positive cash flow, why would I go for half of what I can, in theory, achieve? Now let's go for the balance property. Let's see how that works out. Well, the pre-tax cash flow is 8,000, calculated on 7% growth and 6.3% rental income. We're getting a tax credit of 8,000. So the property is truly cash neutral after tax. That's where it's at as far as I'm concerned. I take advantage of the tax benefits, and from a cash flow point of view, the result has no influence on my lifestyle. Now, what's it look like in regard to the equity? We're getting $726,000 equity growth in 10 years. There is no cash flow influence. So we're ending up, let's call it, with 3/4 of the best case scenario. And here's my point. I rather accept 3/4 of the best case scenario and can build a portfolio and can continue my life as if nothing happened, because it makes no difference on my cash flow, than having to curtail my lifestyle to the tune of $1,200 a month. And at the balanced portfolio, you can certainly continue building a portfolio, doing multiples of properties. Especially with the latest APRA rule changes and the new banking, the revised banking rules, you will have a tough time getting lending on negative gearing after the second or the third property. So that is the biggest reason for the balanced portfolio suggestion. Now let's look at the physical example and case study. Client success story. These are properties that we've done. They're all in towns that have stability and various sources of income, not just one, not a mining town. So we've all started with 5% or above rental income. That's the trick. The fairly high rental income allows us to keep things going. And the towns had a prediction for capital growth. Then we throw our wholesale buying power into the ring and look for an area that works, find the right blocks with the right orientation. Select a builder that will do a great job and will give us a great price and will look after us. Put it all together as a house and land package. And that's what we do. But it doesn't stop there. Because, see, Ulla and I are investing in the same area, so we need all the ancillary services as well. So we need the rental manager, we need the depreciation schedule. We arrange for all of those as an option. We don't get a cent for it, but it stands to reason that we are all stronger when we stay together as a team. So that's the reason why we do that. Very simple case in point again. If you consider yourself to be a rental manager for a moment, if I come to you and I say, look, I have got one property, can you look after it? You go, yes, okay. But if I come to you and I say, look, we are property friends, we're a team of people that work together, no commissions paid, no nothing, I don't want any inclusions for my services in your fee. What I want is a great deal, and I want you to look after the property, especially good. Now, will you be interested in looking after 15 properties for our team? Of course you will. And that is what I call the group leverage. That is what makes our system fly. So let's have a quick look at what did the guys do that built the 1.165 million in under 4 years. Here's a table of what they did. Essentially, they did 3 sets of purchases. In August to October 2009, they started with 3 investment properties in Townsville, Bowen, and Gerald. And the figures are there. You can see the difference between the contract and the market value on completion is huge. Now, then they went into their second batch of purchases in June 2012, where they added just 2. And in November, December 2010. In June 2012, they added 1 more. And over the time period, their principal place of residence over the nearly 4 years added in value 2. So that's how the guys were able to get 1.165 thousand in under 4 years. Now, can anybody do that? In my view, yes. And obviously it's dependent on a number of things. The market at the time, what equity you have to start off with, and admittingly, these guys were flush with cash. They could start buying 3 properties right off the cuff. There are ups and downs, of course, but you got to see it through. You got to stick to the system. follow through and forget about, my suggestion is forget about the people that tell you you can't do that whilst you're in the process of doing it, you know, and follow a system. So why do people then not do that? It staggers me. Well, why do people not invest? Very simple. The know-how, when and what to buy and where. That is what really handicaps people. What's the right price to buy? This is what I see in the industry so often, and I'll cover it in a little bit more detail later on. The price that people pay is loaded with heaps of commissions. That's the real shame. And that is because you are being represented by an agent or by a marketeer that gets paid by the vendor. If you don't know what price is in it for the person that is dealing with you and supposedly on your behalf, that's a challenge as far as I'm concerned. Contracts and conditions, well, that's where a lot of people get stuck. And good luck if you're on your own to negotiate special things. Who can I trust? Well, we have been asked what would be the 3 words that describe your business. The 3 words that describe our business is trust, community, and progress. Without trust, there is nothing. We provide expert support. That's where a lot of people get hung up. They have to rely on limited resources and make the right decision between growth and yield. Go for a balanced property. Just to provide you with even more content, what else do you need to consider? Well, the interest rates are at 53-year lows. It doesn't get better than that. Finance issues, cross-collateralization, which just means don't put everything that you do in one bucket, in one loan with one bank. It's going beyond the scope of this webinar, but just take it that stay away from cross-collateralization as much as you can. Specifications are really careful. That's where a lot of people get caught with people that are with things that are not included. Look, it's very easy for me to take $20,000, $30,000 out of a property, out of the specification. But that's not what it's about. I don't want to sell bread and butter boxes. I don't want to have a bread and butter box myself. I want to have a property that works, that is easy to rent and easy to sell whenever I want to. That's why you need the right specification. The rental manager is really our asset manager. So that is the person that looks after our investment and keeps track of it. Well, and myself, even with the 5 kilometer away property that we have every property managed by a professional rental manager. Everything else doesn't make any sense in my books. Let specialists do what they do best. The word on contracts, make sure that you have special conditions included in the contract, and that is conditions that advantage yourself. So do not make the final payment on a contract until all items on the rectification list are done. It's the biggest bugbear when you've got little niggly things left over to be fixed and your builder is off to the next thing. Secure it contractually. Insurance, there's lots of different insurances. Again, our group buying power works there. Structuring is a bit beyond the context of today. Suffice to say, after the 3rd property, I would suggest it's an idea to look at structuring. Tips and tricks and experience. Well, that's where things get covered in our newsletter and where you really get the biggest benefit out of a specialist. You can never have enough good information, and if you just want to sign up for our newsletter, you can do that in the end. Just take down the website and you can register for it there. So really, the question is, how can we help you and what's different? How can we make things easy for you? We suggest an area. We provide turnkey projects at a fixed price. Now, I say that with great delight. The antenna is on the roof, the letterbox out front, the washing line in the back. There is nothing that you need to do. And that's the way that you want to have it done. You don't want to be running around. We provide all resources and referrals. And by the way, these are optional. If you like a referral, great. We have a specialized team around us. Again, no commissions. We work on a fixed fee. On a fixed fee that is completely separate to the deal. So we are completely independent, and the reason why we work with the referral partners is because they work well and they know our system, and it is easier for us all to work in a good team. We have a planning session yearly, and we provide ongoing support. We have got quarterly meetings in a team here in Victoria that's called a champion team. We meet there, have a lot of fun, exchange ideas. About buying power works in every arena, in the rentals, in the insurance, in the selection of the deal, in the payment of the deal. We create what I call a win-win-win-win. The builder wins because they get a base load. The developer wins because they get 5 to 10 lots on the go straight away, which is good for their financing. We win because we get paid a fixed fee. And you win because you can leverage our experience and the deals and the long-term relationships that we're doing. I mentioned already that we're working for a separate fee, completely separate. There are no hidden commissions. And that to me is really, really important. 11 years ago, we decided that we want people to know what we're getting. We want people to be able to say, you are buying what I'm buying. You are paying the same price that I'm paying. You are signing the same contract that I would be signing. That's important to us. And there is a proven strategy. Check out the testimonials that are on the website. So here comes the opportunity. What I'm offering for you is to book a personalized fact-finding session. I find there's really 3 kinds of people in the world. The ones that make things happen, the ones that watch things happen, and the ones that say a couple of years later, what happened? So I invite you to be an action taker and make things happen. What I'm offering to do is, property investment is a very personal thing, so what I'm offering is a personalized strategy session, 30 minutes. If you take down the link, maybe we can post it in the chat box. If you book, click on that link, you can book into a calendar, into my calendar, and I'm happy to have a discussion with you for a fact-finding session. We develop a personalized strategy for you. We start on that. That's $250 worth of value for free for you. No risk, no questions asked. If you like it, great. If you don't like it and don't want to do anything after that, that's great. That's really a handy thing to have and a handy thing to take opportunity of. Okay, I am just about through. Maybe we take a couple of questions and go from there.
Awesome, that was fantastic, Uwe.
I'll leave the link up so that people can go there if they want to and book themselves in.
Great, and I also did post that in the chat box where you can actually go and click into it, and it'll take you across there. So, all right, so there are a couple of questions, and I've got a couple of questions as well from you. So, guys, we'll stick around as long as it takes to answer and gain the expertise from Uwe, as I've had that personalized session with him more than once. I think we did one about 18 months ago, and recently with what's changed. And the beauty about Uwe is that actually he's not in a rush to do anything. He just wants to give you information, and the thing is, he'll get my business next year when I'm ready to get that 4th property. So and that's how I operate in my business, and that's why I also wanted to bring him to my communities, because both of us align with our values of building relationships long term, and that's why we've continue to thrive in our businesses as well. But you've got wonderful feedback from Bianca, said great content, Uwe. Now, there's a question here from Chris. Uwe, does that mean having one mortgage with one bank and one with another? So I'm not sure what that referred to, but do you?
I think I can answer that,
Yes.
Nat.
Yep.
Yes, I would suggest that it's not a good idea to have all of your properties with one bank.
Mhm.
There is what's called the all monies clause, which even if you don't cross-collateralize the mortgages, so if you have each mortgage standalone,
Mhm.
if anything happens with one property through the all monies clause, the bank has got invariably the right to pull on any loans that you have.
Mhm.
So the way that I run it is 3, maximum 4 properties with one bank. It is better to have a variety of banks. As far as I'm concerned, the bank doesn't need to know everything about my affairs.
Mhm.
They only need to know that I'm making my payments, and that's fine. And on that note, Chris, I think it was,
Yes.
we have all properties with various banks. And my strong suggestion is to have your principal place of residence, your family home, completely separate with one bank,
Mhm.
where in our case, we don't do anything else. That's just a safety valve. It's just a safeguard. If you really get into the advanced stages of the game, it is also about building protective layers around you and doing a bit of asset protection.
Great. Great.
We have our property, our principal place of residence, completely with one separate bank.
Cool.
I hope that answers that.
Yep, she's just posted. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Great idea with home property. We've got Marika says, thanks, that was a great webinar. So my question is, does that mean the balance property is cost neutral, as it doesn't cost us because it pays for itself? And I think that the answer is yes, but you answer
The
it.
answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's the only way that I know that you can continue to buy properties, and the only way that I know that you can continue to borrow for properties.
great. Elaine from Perth says, how do you make sure you have good quality tenants? And then her next question next to that was, are you only in Victoria, and are you planning to open in other states? I think we already covered a little bit where the certain places that you guys have used in the past. But do you want to answer that question around how do you ensure you have good quality tenants? Is it around having great property managers? Is that correct?
Yes, that's the absolute truth. We put a lot of emphasis on selecting our property managers, and that's not easy because it's not a very thankful job. You're very much the meat in the sandwich when you're a property manager. But the property manager is the be all and end all. They are our asset manager.
Mm.
And we select them very carefully, and we make sure that they understand if they muck up with one property, they risk losing the entire portfolio of,
Yeah.
say, 15 properties. That is the reason why we get special service.
Yeah.
As to the answer, we work Australia-wide. We pick 3 to 5 areas per year where we would be prepared to put our own money into, and that's where we do projects. That's where we do house and land packages. So we diversify. I'm big about risk mitigation. We diversify the locations over Australia.
Mm-hmm.
In my view, just as it is too risky to invest into a mining town, which is dependent on one income source, it is, in my view, too risky to put all your properties in one town.
Yes.
Even if that is Melbourne, a multi-million people town.
Mm.
If anything happens to the one source, if anything happens to the one location, you're belly up.
Yeah.
So you want to diversify over Australia, in my view.
Yeah. There's another question about tenants from Marika. How do you ensure constant tenants, so not empty houses? If
Great
we have
question.
heaps of houses the same in one place.
Great question, Marika. That's a function of doing your research at the very beginning correctly. We specifically select areas that have got a very low rental vacancy. Generally, rental vacancy is considered to be balanced between 3.5% and 4.5%. We select areas that are generally under 3. I'll give you, for instance, at the moment we are working quite heavily in Cairns in far north Queensland. For the last 9 months, the rental vacancy has been at around 2% and under. That's, of course, a huge benchmark in our research to make sure that we have a high tenant base and great requirements for tenants that are looking for lots of property. So the rental vacancy figure is a great indicator for that. And you want to have at least 6 months track on that.
Great. Elaine also says she feels much better about property investing now. Thank you. One of my questions was, how do you get paid, Uwe, if not by the vendors?
Thank you. Well, we strike a fixed fee. We think it's really, really important that, look, ultimately, you serve the master that pays you. I think it's the biggest oxymoron to have somebody buying a property with you or for you, and that somebody is being paid by the vendor. How can they be independent? So we strike a fixed fee with our clients to be paid by our clients. And that way, I can look anybody in our team in the eye and say, you buy what I buy, you pay what I pay, you sign the same contract that I sign.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
And one thing that I think I've learned from you in the past is that this fixed fee can also be set up in the whole mortgage setup process, so that you don't need to sort of have the cash flow up front. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, it depends how you structure things.
Yes.
Whilst you will need a deposit for the property, no question.
Of course, yeah.
And there's certain cash flow items that are coming earlier. There's certain cash flow items that are coming later. We love going for, again, that's something that we can negotiate because of our bargaining power. Typically, we negotiate very low deposits.
Yes.
So that we can start the cash flow very late. But sorry, to answer your question, our fee can certainly be financed, and yes, it can be rolled into the mortgage.
And Valentina's just added on to that. What is the right amount to get together for a deposit?
That's a very good question, Valentino. It's a question that we would probably best answer in the fact-finding session. I encourage you to look into that. The reason why I'm answering that way is it very much depends on your risk profile. You can still get 95% loans. Now, if you were, let's say, in your 50s, there is no way that I would suggest that. If you were in your 20s, that may be a possibility. Then the question is, what's your risk profile? So it really needs more of a discussion between the two of us for me to get to know where you're at, what drives you, to make any suggestions in that regard.
Yeah, you got to look at people's situation and equity and all those things that some of them may have. Yeah. Okay. And what about what is the minimum rental yield that you want?
I personally don't suggest that you do anything under 5%. We are at 53-year lows of interest rates. Now, in my view, under 5%, the property will be negatively geared and will cost you substantial amounts of cash flow.
Yes.
That is something that I just don't want. Yeah. So you want 5% or more in rental yield. And then you look for the area that has the biggest growth that you can find.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, because you don't want to affect your lifestyle. So yeah, and that's why we would want you to guide us in working out what that is. Because to tell you the truth, even though I've bought 3 houses, and have them, I don't, I haven't used any specific strategy. And when I'm really looking at leveraging this seriously with more than one, then yeah, I'd definitely want to get the right advice. Awesome. And
Yeah,
there's a,
that,
yeah.
that's what the fact finding session is great for. So to kick those sort of discussions off.
We'll take one last question from Stephen, and it's a good one, I guess, and we're all curious about this. Do many of your clients buy more than one property? Because I'm on the way, as I said, I want to buy one each year. Do you have many people who return?
Absolutely, yes.
Hmm.
We're very proud. 76% of our clients are
Hmm.
return clients,
Great.
which is unusually high figure, which we're very proud of. It really means that people do the first property,
Hmm.
and for better or for worse, what I usually get is, "Hey, that was easy,
Hmm.
and it made money,
Yeah.
so why
I'll do
would I
it.
not do that again?
Yeah.
If it works, do it again."
Cool. And Valentina's just got one last question. I guess I want them all answered, because I'm curious as well. In relation to interest rates, do you recommend fixed or variable rates?
Great question. Again, very personal question, Valentino. I would suggest you book into a fact-finding session. The reason why that is so is, what's your risk profile and what does your remaining assets or liabilities look like?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I certainly, the short answer is, at the moment we are fixing things. We've got about half of our loans fixed.
Mm-hmm.
There is an issue though with fixing for, let's say, 5 years or more. It takes some flexibility away. So again, that's a very personal thing depending on your personal circumstances. Valentina, I suggest we have a fact finding session.
Hey, Uva, a fixed and variable, but then there's also interest and interest in principal. With the investment properties, do you suggest one or the other?
Very clearly, no questions in my mind. You go interest only.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you want to make additional payments, that can be done via redraw or offset accounts,
Yes.
but you
Or
want
cash
to
flow. Yeah.
maximize your potential.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because we were faced with the same situation. We set up interest only, so we can top up and redraw if we had to, and all that sort of stuff. So it's better for the cash flow, just in case. Yeah, awesome. That's what I thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so
You want
much.
to give yourself the maximum flexibility.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I'm loving this. I'm really getting into it. Thank you so much. Excellent. Well, that was the last of the questions. Lots of great feedback has come through that the information has been excellent. And look, I even heard you. I actually went to a live seminar with Uva a few months ago and learned this stuff. But then hearing it again today, and I'm a different person, and getting even more and more interested in buying more properties as our business also grows. It allows us to be able to invest, and that's the whole thing about it. It's about going, taking our life to the next level, and buying those assets rather than, as the rich dad poor dad says, don't buy the doodads, invest in your assets. Thank you for the information. Fantastic information from Vanessa. Awesome session, guys. Thank you from Chris. Catch you, can catch you in the link up. And Marika, that was very interesting. Congrats. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Book yourself in with Uber. I mean, just picking his brain with whatever you're curious about. Start that relationship with him, if anything else, because I think he just has things that you would have never thought about yourself. And that's what I always, whenever I learn something, when I go somewhere, I go, oh my God, I didn't even know that existed. And that's what I find myself, sometimes finding out about this information. So it's been a wonderful night. Thank you, Eva, for stepping up and hosting this for our community. And also, I think some of your community were on the call as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We will send out a recording if you want to recap this, listen with a partner, And I think I reckon you should post this one up on your website as well. So thanks a lot, and have an amazing night, and all the best to your road and path to financial freedom. See you guys. Good night.